On it. Updated my journal.
100 XP. Haj Reken. This woman is dressed in functional glaives clothing. Her hair is short and her face is muscular and tense. You recognize her instantly from Tash Mayer. Haj Reken. Hashesmir, right. The leader of the first castoffs forces. She chews on the side of her cheek before she speaks. I must admit I'm surprised you made it in. You realize by breaking open the portal lock, you've made our sanctuary more vulnerable to the sorrow. But you probably don't care about the results of your actions, do you? You clearly gave no shit about the security of this place. I mean, there is no guards on it, so why should I care if you don't? Your blundering pales beside the crimes of our creator, of course. I'm heading out to stop more of them. What crimes has our creator committed? Do you want the full litany? Ask someone else, because I haven't got the year to spare. The worst one is that he had plans to kill us, to sacrifice us to save his life. The first found out and took a stand to stop him, but she's dead now. We're stuck with me commanding in her memory, and meanwhile, sycophants and lickspittles work for him for the privilege of being destroyed. For some incomprehensible reason, they put their faith in the man who dropped us into a world of pain. Okay. What exactly were the changing gods' plans? To offer our lives in a mad sacrifice to stop the sorrow. He doesn't care about us. He doesn't care about anyone but himself. I'll believe that. At least the sacrifice to stop sorrow part. Here's the thing though, the reason why I don't really get worked up about that or speculate about it too much is that I currently can't do anything about it anyway. We're following a breadcrumb trail and we have to follow it. So there's no point. I can't choose any differently than basically the plot has me going, at least at the moment. So no point worrying about that. How did the first die? That's surprising because she is incredibly famous, but there's really no details about her. Her face is also obscured by masks constantly. Usually you don't wear masks in a story unless there's reason. You basically don't want people to know who the person is. So masks are always a warning sign about a plot twist or something. How did the first die? She chews her cheek a moment. As she lived, sacrificing herself for our lives. That's not an answer. Misdirection. How the fuck did she die? Did she die? I mean, if I ask someone how President Lincoln died, you have a very clear-cut answer about that. Either you don't know, or you know and you can exactly just say how it died. You don't go this kind of a diversion route unless there's something very wrong about the dying part. Some kind of a Something they don't want to know. Okay, I need to find Mazoth. Is he here?
I'll remember that.
Her eyes narrow. No one has seen Mazoth in over a decade. Adiris might know where he is. Talk to her. Her voice softens. Adiris might be the best of us. Treat her well, or I'll be sure you pay in blood and pain. Having feelings toward her? Okay, we have a chance to reveal how we know Pashraken and things like that, but I don't want to take them. It's better if she doesn't know. Tell me about Adiris. He has the qualities the rest of us do not. A peaceful, idealistic nature. He wants only the best for all castoffs. She rises above our rivalries. Her idealism is frustrating at times, but she has wisdom and insight in her gentle nature. Yeah, well, don't let me keep you any longer. I have one more thing to say to you, and I want you to mark it clearly. The changing god, the coward, intends to kill us all. If you meet him, don't trust him. He is going to ruin us as surely as the sorrow. He turns and strides away. I'd wish you success, but... well, the world has a way of disappointing us all. Increase edge or increase effort? I'm leaning toward increased effort at this point. If a tough challenge comes our way, the edge is not gonna help us. We need the extra ability to use more points from the pools. So extra effort, please. And Rin, what am I going to do with you? I've taken an improved ability. No, I can't take improved ability. He doesn't have anything to improve. Right. So quick fingers would be the only thing that would be worthwhile with her. No. It's effort, edge, or she could use speed, edge. At the same time, also effort and pool. This will increase her defenses both against spells and the physical attacks by 5%. And the extra pool is always welcome. Right. Evasion 65%, willpower 30%. Willpower isn't exactly great, but she's fairly well protected against. But she has some resistance, so that'll add to that damage reduction. And spells aren't all that powerful anyway. But resistance also applies to all energy type damage, so it's not just spells. Anyone want to add something to this?
What a wonderful place. I'm almost glad they're not fighting their endless battle here. Everything would get all, you know, bloody and burnt.
Well, that would definitely ruin the ambience. I agree. And that's me, Erit, saying that. I normally don't approve of peace, it's too peaceful. What happened to that shepherd's crook I found in that alcove anyway? A shepherd probably took it, Erit says, looking around with a scowl. Took it into a dark place, maybe a labyrinth, maybe they took it there. His fist is trembling at his side and his aura is fluctuating wildly. He flinches as though someone has slapped his forehead and the glow returns to its normal brilliance. Shepherds aren't interesting. We should stop talking about them and where they're hiding now. I don't think anything is gonna come out of this until we get back to the labyrinth.
Oh, yes?
It takes her a while to notice you as she looks around in awe. How are you holding up? Before I met you, I asked Al if he could bring me someone to help me. I know, it's embarrassing. He's not the right sort of god for that, but then you came. And you're even better than anything a god would bring me.
Heard rumors about this place, bits and pieces here and there. Never thought I'd set boot in it, especially since I'm not.
He traces a rough outline of a castoffs tattoo over his unadorned skin. Doesn't look like you're worried. Well, no, Tiber says, and claps you on the shoulder. I have an escort. I'm officially a friend of the family. Okay, give me your opinion on this place. Cold, isn't it? Temperature and reception. You'd think people in a place this hard to reach would be friendlier. Why? Why would you think that? Isn't it the exact opposite? They've erected walls and barriers and obstacles for people to reach here, so why would they be open to people visiting here? Ibeer, you're not making sense.
If you want a job done right.
There are traces of sand on this teleport pad, and it's far warmer than the sanctuary's temperature. It smells of seawater and bone, and it is not active now. Air above this teleport pad is musty and smells of entrails of some dead beast. It's unclear how Paj made it work because it's not functioning now. The air around this portal is pad is hot and smells of sulfur. You can't see how to make it function. Right. So he went somewhere with animal smells. Entrails of some dead beast.
Fine.
Maybe a hint about her location. Except we don't know what that location could possibly be.
Gladly.
These machines draw power from somewhere underground, using it to generate the shields that color the sky. There are several of them around the sanctuary.
Go.
Chalcedon. I know that name, but I don't recall who he was.
You bet.
This man is less flesh than muscle, running in corded bands from his thick neck down his broad chest, wide arms and calloused hands. He focuses on you, his cold eyes flicking from your face and the shape of your tattoo to the width of your shoulders, like a prospective buyer sizing up a particularly dangerous animal. Then he smiles, and it is as wide and genuine as you've ever seen. The most advanced of our sire's children, here at last. I'm surprised you didn't make your way here sooner. Who are you? I am the Chalcedon, commander of the changing gods' forces in the endless battle, the guardian of his grand design and his champion. He raises a self-depreciating hand. Not that our sire truly needs my help, of course, but some here, in the very land he created for us, would rather acknowledge all he's done for us. He shakes his head slowly. Some of these disagreements can be resolved through debate, but not all, of course. Not all. Have you seen him lately?
No, but that's not unusual. His strategies absorb most of his time, which is why he leaves most of the work in the endless battle and the diplomacy in Miel Avest to me. He flashes a grin, and as you might imagine, he measures time differently than us. It's been a number of years since I've seen him. I doubt our sire has noticed. You almost don't spot the unease beneath that grin, the hurt. Tell me about the changing God's grand design. As you know, he moves from body to body. He does this to test the capabilities of those bodies to their fullest to ensure their strength. And when he has done so, he gives them to us. Gives us life so that we might continue using them in service of his plans. He is like a sculptor honing his art. He raises a finger. So you see, he's not flitting from body to body like some manner of vapid insect. Each cast-off is an improvement over the last. He lays a hand on your shoulder. What a load of horseshit. I fully believe that each cast-off is an improvement over the last in some measure. Or they might be test cases for certain features. But he's certainly not just testing the bodies in preparation for them. That's the biggest pile of horseshit so far. And that means, of course, that you are the most advanced of us. We'll need your intelligence, your tactical mind, to help end this conflict. The sorrow will find us. Before that happens, we must end our conflict with each other. We must prepare our defenses. We must find some way to stop it. I don't want to tell Chalcedon about the Mazab and the resonance chamber and all that. We already got directed to one person. I want to talk with her first. And I'm not sure, maybe some of this could be used against me. It's clear that in here there's basically a battle lines have been drawn. You're on one side or the other. So just carelessly blurting out things is something to be avoided. Tell me about the endless battle. What's it all about? Ingratitude. Our sire gave us long lives and powerful gifts, a home to protect us from the sorrow. First Castoff wasn't content. She spread lies about our sire and turned some of his children against him. She's dead now, but the damage is long done. Our family is divided. The First's army would see us destroy the changing god and seek freedom from his plans for us. He growls under his breath. There are stubborn children, refusing the medicine that will save their lives because the taste isn't sweet enough for their liking. So how did the first one die? Can't ask that. So what's the point? We already asked that. This was his answer. Right. No, what's that? I'll ask
Making a
again.
note.
The point is that our sire was defending himself against the first attacks. She thought that she was entitled to his knowledge, and she thought she'd wrest it from him by force. And now, he looks haunted for a moment and his voice lowers. Now I'm not sure we could stop it if we wanted to. Hyper exhales, rubbing his eyes. When he notices you looking his way, he waves his hand. Nothing. It's nothing. Carry on. You're not upset that I opened the portal? Well, I argued for the portal's closure to begin with, so I'm concerned that it's open now.
But why can't you close it again? I don't fucking get this. Is it a door or is it some kind of a mystical ritual that takes months to complete to close it or what? Just either keep... Yeah, I don't get this. This doesn't make any fucking sense to me. They're treating it like it's a big thing that I came in here. Yet no one gives two shits about closing the portal. I mean, I just don't get it. I would imagine the portals are generally closed to begin with, and you open them only as needed. But, yeah, I don't get the logic of this line of reasoning here.
But I trust that our sire knew what he was doing when he made you. I have no doubt that the weakening of our defenses is a smaller part of his greater strategy.
Yeah, you have faith in him, don't you? I don't really think this is all that big of a deal. The me breaking in here. The problem I have with this is that the game is sort of trying to make it some kind of a deal, but it's not offering any kind of a logic behind why it would be any kind of a deal. It's just they seem to be upset at me for no particular reason, and it's like. Right. It's like, let's say they're worried about secrets getting out, and I just blurted out something. Maybe it's a secret I shouldn't have told, but the consequence of that is not all that big. It's not spread all that around, but they're worried about that I said it. So as a consequence, no, that makes no fucking sense. Basically I don't know where I was going there. The problem is that they're worried about me breaking their little thing, but they're showing no action themselves to actually correct that thing. They're so upset about me opening the door a little bit, but no one's making any effort to close that door again, to get rid of the problem, to mitigate the damage, that sort of thing. They're more than happy to just let it go, to stay open and do nothing about it. So that's why it seems... It pisses me off that they're upset about it, because they clearly give zero shits about it. They just want to bitch about it instead of do something about it. Yeah, now I recall where I was going with the secret thing. It's like being upset about to me that I told someone a secret of one person, and being so upset about it that they, in their effort to be upset about it, they basically let the secrets spread much wider than I ever let it go. They're so upset about my breaking it, but by their actions they show that they give actually zero shits about it. The damage they do is much worse than I ever did. I opened the door, came in. Why aren't you just closing it? Besides, Pash, whatever the woman's name was that we have encountered first, also used the portal to get out. So that's okay, but my using a teleporter to come in is somehow terrible. Yeah, it doesn't make sense. That it seems like they're upset because the writer wanted them to be upset. They don't actually have a reason to be upset. Yeah, very well. Do they have a shopkeeper here? Yes, they do. Beretto.
Absolutely.
All right.
The wind around the structure is oddly moist, and there is a smell you can't identify, an unfamiliar meat perhaps falling in sunlight. And there is something else, an acrid silent tingling hanging in the air, the feeling of power held in reserve. Examine. You reach out to touch the sloping side, but hesitate. Strange. The surface is smooth, inviting even, and yet Your instincts tell you that something within the structure wants you to touch it, to come out inside, to yield and fall to the earth, exposing your softest parts to... You stumble back, shaking your head. Yeah, you don't want to do that. None of us are sure what it is or why the first left it behind. I think it's a last-ditch defense against the solo if everything else fails. Others say different. Feels nasty enough, doesn't it? Touch the structure. Gritting your teeth, you ignore the repulsive waves pushing at you and firmly place your palm on the structure's surface. Eyesight deserts you and you fall, toppling into bottomless darkness, through clouds of slimy, probing bodies. They pry at your lips, suckle at the moisture around your lips, and scrape urgently at your eyelids. Something clutches at your heart and crushes it. It's the last thing you feel.
I can't die.
Well, at least we got to the labyrinth. So, it's all good. Last defense against the sorrow, then. Potentially. Why does it still kill us if we just touch it? Shrug? Nothing new. Ooh, there's something new. Eritis, that's why we're here. Eritis. Oh, and Choi. I haven't talked to her.
Let's go.
A transparent form of a girl, Choi, you realize, huddles here, clutching herself. Her eyes are closed, her breathing slow and even. Other than the rise and fall of her small shoulder, she is utterly motionless. And that makes the sound she is making all the more audible. It is a moaning coming from the back of her throat, a low guttural sound of fear and pain. The sound rises, surrounding you like an invisible electric force in the air, a chorus of 1,000 soft screams cut short. Hairs along your arm rise, sizzling. Can I talk to her? The knuckles of her small hand tighten around her arm as you lean closer. How are you? He flinches as if struck, but does not respond. Okay. Form a connection. You open your mind to hers, and icy terror pours into your mind, filling your veins, clutching at your throat. You breathe, forcing the foreign emotions away, and the physical symptoms subside. For now. The rigid line of Joy's shoulders relaxes a fraction of an inch. You appear to have taken some of her burden from her. +1 training in endurance. Well, that's a positive thing.
There we go.
Choi's transparent outline flickers, but she does not otherwise move. A soft moan rises from the depths of her throat, pained and fearful thing. Her terror spreads through you like cold water, a wordless keening that coils around your nerves like white fire. Can I talk to her? She does not flinch away as you bend forward to speak with her. Are you alright? What happened? Yep.
Yes.
You let it go. Inifir is here too. How does that work? The pale image of Inifir regards you with empty, woe-worn eyes. It is an emptiness to drown in.
A pit that can swallow whole all the empathy the heart can give without being filled even a bit. Like all voids, it beckons and seeks to drag you in. Can I speak with him? Inipir shrugs a spectral shoulder. There isn't a lot of scabs to be picked, the mark of the weak to be pecked. My veins, brother, with thy vein mine. How do you get here? You consumed me, brother. Wherever my foul flesh festers, you made a fouler feast of that which lasts past death. He sniffs and curls his face into a sneer. From one world of woe to another, brother. Have you found some comfort here? Inifir laughs raggedly. Comfort, brother, never. I grieve the grave bereaved from me. I crave the one you cleaved from me. I yearn for peace you thieved from me, and none can shrieve the slave you made of me, or save the salve you slaved through me. He gasps for air to fill his ghostly lungs, then he says, She is gone, brother, yet we endure. The world cannot purge itself of our rancid lies. Our father's curse courses through us both, and denies us death's kiss. Can you teach me how to open the gate? Why the fuck would I want to do that? Do you know how I can bring peace to Joy? Inifir shakes his head. I know of no cure for life's ills, but death, brother, and I robbed her of that reprieve to shield myself from guilt's bright light. He pauses for a moment, and his bleak gaze seems to stretch beyond you. If there is a way to weave whole her ripped and ragged heart, the threads she needs will not be found in us. We hope only tides, brother, and jagged shoals to shatter others' hulls. I wonder if I could go back to the tombs, talk to the person who took the family's name. Because I never really, well, I don't know. I'm not interested in going back there. Tell me something you learned in your years beyond the gate. Oh, brother, I have such lessons as I long to teach you. Lore to sear the soul and seal up hope. I would help you plumb depths darker than any earthly abyss, and snuff the only light to lead you back. And when you cried out, Brother, bring me home, I would answer, Brother, I have. He bears the shadow of his broken teeth in a murderous smile. The tuition for this tutelage you paid in full with Mark Kaiser's death renewed. Well, can you tell me something you learned? No, brother. These are lessons not fit for words. I'm not sure if I want to let Inifir's emptiness drag myself in. He's basically had the shittiest possible lives I've encountered so far. I'm not sure how I would benefit from that, but I suppose I can cut the connection if it's somehow it's not to my benefit. You allow Inifir to drag part of you into his pain-hollowed heart, and in turn you take part of his agony into yourself. In doing so, you feel yourself harden and grow stronger, though it is a strength that seems to twist inside you. Inifir's madness.
So what is Sinipious Madness? You draw strength from madness, but pay the cost for that strength. +1 might edge, that's nice. +1 training level in intimidation, -1 intellect pool. That's not so bad. We get 2 good things in exchange for 1 minor. I mean, that would have taken... The edge would have taken 1 level up, the skill would have taken 1 level up. -1 intellect pool is half a level up. So it's a good trade. Here it is. It's the main reason we're here. The reflection before you resembles Eretis, but an unmistakably older one. No golden glow surrounds him. He's plain, weathered. His hair is streaked with grey and white. "Help!" he says plainly, clutching at his sides as if he's cold. His hands are calloused, cracked, and dark with embedded dirt. How can I help? No. I don't understand what's going on here. Are you Eredis? Yes, I'm me. I'm the me that lived alone in the nameless field with his Yol. He named them and tended them and clipped their yellow wool. A tear spills down his nose and drips to the ground. I think they're all dead now. No one fed them but him, and he's gone. I'm gone. Dark red rises in his pale eyes. That was a long time ago. Before the demons came out of the black box and filled me. Before I was old to adventure. The louder words tear themselves out of him, and he recoils from them, covering his ears. Glow ebb from his eyes as suddenly as it came. Was that? The louder ones, braver than me and make me be brave, they always shout. The other ones whisper, they watch, they're hungry. Indigo flickers at the center of his pupils like a distant bonfire. They want me to die. Eretis' mouth doesn't move, but the words seem to come from him anyway, hissing from the depths of his throat. You want to be free of them, don't you? No, my life will be boring, useless without them. Eretis staggers back another step, pressing his lips together. The red and indigo flames coiling in his pupils subside, until only the pale blue remains. Yes, please, I want to go home. I want to find my Yol and go home.
I'll remember that.
Drive them out of me. Please, I don't want to be me anymore. I want to be him again. Okay, you mentioned a Yol before. What is that? Hurt creatures, he says, and a look of calm happiness drifts beneath his troubled face. Soft, yellow wool, milk and cheese. Something like grief descends through his expression, devouring his brief happiness. My herd is lost now. I think they're gone. Sounds like you liked being a Yol herder. Not until I wasn't one anymore, he says, dropping his head. I lived in the nameless field where my mother was buried. I liked making songs in my head, but I hated that field, that leaky house. He presses his fingers against his hollow cheeks. I wanted to leave it all behind, sing for people, for meals in distant taverns, but now I wish I could go back there, sing to my animals and sleep where my mother slept. Yes, in the grave. Do you have any idea what kind of demons are inside you? I don't, but I feel them, hear them. He licks cracked lips. They glow and keep me awake. They shout and whisper. They live in my veins and cling to my spine with tiny teeth.
how did you end up with those demons inside you? One of my Yol wandered into that dead valley, he says casually, but his hands are clenched at his side. Its tracks went around the alcove and I decided to sleep there for the night. His fists are shivering. I heard sounds inside a dark box on a shelf and I opened it. And ever since I've been buried by them, by the other me, screaming and crying, never sleeping. He rubs his eyes with dirty knuckles like a child. I never found my Yol, and now I never will. They don't let me sleep, and I'm hungry all the time. They don't think of me as real. I'm their toy. So how can I help you drive out these demons? I don't know. Find healers, maybe, or doctors. And do you think of any way we can get those demons out of you? I don't know. But healers might, or doctors. Right.
Ready.
He's a Right. We might potentially even lose Eritis. Or at least drastically change him if we do that. At the same time, he's a companion,
Alright.
so leaving him possessed by demons is not exactly an option I'm
Let's go.
willing to go with unless there are drastic reasons favoring that. So we definitely want to
Alright.
at least find out if we can get rid of the demons somehow. Lady Angie tells me you touched the territory. I'd laugh if I hadn't done the same thing myself. Right. Malmoth Leviarm. Melmoth. Your eyes are drawn to the tattered leather ropes and the profusion of tubes that wire this man. He is lighter skinned with piercing eyes and a hideous pitted scar on his face. He could be handsome, but centuries of neglect have ravaged his looks. He looks you over and rasps. Oh, you're the new castoff, eh? Come to ask me about my Dendra whore? Or do you have some other trick you need to show up? He waves his hand irritably. Never mind. You have questions for Melmoth? What? The feretory. What happened to me? Curiosity happened to you. He claps you hard on the shoulder. No one knows. I'd venture so far as to say it's some kind of psychic defense mechanism to keep prying noses from tampering with it. But I've gotten precisely nowhere with my investigation, so all you get from me is useless speculation. Tell me about yourself. His lopsided smile seems like more of a grimace. I'm Melmoth Leviarm. I'm the creator of the Dendra of War, the greatest, or at least most innovative of the brotherhoods that seek to pass along knowledge from one generation to the next. So many people back away from me because of the way I look, or the way I speak, but let me tell you that in this body I have lived countless lives, seen endless worlds, experienced memories that beggar description. I contain worlds, and they judge me by my appearance. Sometimes I wonder who I am saving this knowledge for. Tell me about the Dendra War. They call us the Eaters of the Dead. We take the knowledge from their fading flesh. Lives flicker and dies, and when knowledge disappears, the world grows darker. The rain of death washes away experience. I want to preserve. Each of the Dendra is a library of experience. A feral grin flickers on his mouth and vanishes. Every life that vanishes is a loss. Every person living has a story. The secret keys of history hide there. I want truth. I want exposure. I want knowledge to live. Anything more? death is a waste of history. We eat the dead that we might remember the lesson of life, lessons of time. Okay, nothing more. With all your acquired knowledge, you must have a unique outlook on the endless battle.
I'll remember that.
A waste of life and a criminal waste of knowledge. The weapons being discharged are lost to us forever. Each life gone is an experience that will disappear into the mist of eternity, snuffed away, forgotten, never to be seen again. Our sires sought to cheat death to stop that kind of waste. It is beyond my reasoning why he'd allow the endless battle to continue. I have some theories on that. I think the endless battle itself serves some kind of a purpose. There doesn't seem to be any real effort in trying to put an end to it. What the purpose is, I don't know. I suppose it keeps people occupied for one reason, for one thing. It raises the possibility that it's a controlled resistance or controlled opposition. It would funnel basically the changing gods' opposition to this, and resistance that is directed to be totally worthless and fruitless. It will never basically go anywhere. But that's speculation. I really have almost nothing to base that on. Tell me about the other castoffs. He leers an ugly smile. They're idiots and fools. They think their shields can protect them from the sorrow forever. I came here to retrieve some research, and every time I come, I think of how much knowledge is in their minds and their bodies. I wish they'd just die already so I could gain access to their wasted experiences. He scratches a small infection in his hand. On the other hand, they're the closest I have to peers. Thus, what does that say about me? Yeah, I'm looking for Mazza. Him? That useless tinker? Why? Well, I have some questions for him. Oh, a mystery. I love mysteries. He barks a laughter. I'll surmise then. He's a machine man, a fixer of broken objects and a builder of new ones. And so you must need a repair or a new device. But how would you have knowledge to look for Mazza? Who could have told you? Nope. I don't have enough knowledge, but I'll find it soon enough to answer your query. I do not know where Mazza is. I suggest asking Dearest. Right. That's the plan.
Yes. Now.
Lady Ansha should be a shopkeeper. Right.
Look at this. Our wayward brother in the flesh. She spreads slender hands. Delicate spider webs of metal thread run through her fingers, studded with circular notes that look too purposeful to be mere jewelry. The name's Anshe, Lady Anshe, but don't let that scare you off. I sell rare Numenera and a place to rest at a fair price. I can also upgrade certain clothing and equipment, but that's a bit more expensive. She gives you an assessing eye. Take a look at what I've got. My prices are high, but you look like someone who values your friends, and my work will keep them safe. Ooh. She claps her ornamented hands together with a clink. So, what do you need? That's a lot of options. What about the upgrades you mentioned? Sure thing, but in case I wasn't clear before, I can't do much with what you are wearing. It's pretty good as is. She scratches her chin. Your friends, on the other hand, I can help. Who needs work done? Rin. Her survivability is the biggest problem. What? What's wrong with my clothes? Nothing, and she says, smiling down at her. I can make a few changes to your jacket and shirt. Nothing fancy or heavy, just a few things you'd like. She looks up at you. 101 shins. Neither of you will be disappointed. Well, that's actually cheaper than I thought. Let's improve her equipment. Alright, she says, pressing her palms together. A warm line traces the edges of her joined palms. This feels incredibly odd, Rin says, staring down at her shifting clothing. But not in a bad way. She gives you a nervous smile. Thank you. So, upgrade it. Ooh, holy shit. That's like massively superior equipment. And she pulls her hands apart. Their glow fades as they fall to her side. That should do it. Anyone else? Yeah, everyone else. Assuming the prices are of similar level.
Me? Why me? Oh, you do laundry too?
Not even a little. And she says, studying your companion with a critical eye. His sark and mantle are a bit clumsy. I could finesse the rough edges. Minor work will cost you 130. Yep, do it. Good as done, she says, cradling a fist in her glowing palm and murmuring under her breath. Light swells. Piper arches an eyebrow at you as his armor begins remaking itself.
If I end up naked at the end of this, you only have yourself to blame. And if not, thank you.
Yeah, these are actually fairly good equipment. This is Rin's equipment though. We'll have to do check later of how the things actually change. And they do look a little bit different. Rin has a green dress now. I think she had a brown gray before. There it is.
I don't need upgrades.
Eridis declares outrage, immediately follows.
Do I?
You might, and she says, frowning as she examines your companion. Let me take a look at your doublet and undershirt. I could do something with slits, possibly slits, maybe bends. 75 shins and we're square. Do it. Yeah, hold still.
Do I have to?
Eridis says, but he offers you a smile as the threads of his clothes begin moving of their own accord.
Thank you, my friend.
Yeah, let's look at what we got. I have armor 4 and a resistance of 6. This is cost 400, so I think they got something of similar value. Armor of 7, resistance of 3, right. Armor of 3, resistance of 6. Armor of 5, resistance of 3. Decent upgrade, especially on the armor front. Massive upgrade. I think it was something around 0 resistance, maybe armor 4. So 6 points in total added to this. We're looking at similar levels with the others. So it's a very cheap, massive equipment upgrade. What did the ferratory do to me? It killed you, of course. It'll do that every time, by the way, just as Melmoth over there. The corner of her lips turns. Okay, one of my companions is troubled by demons of some kind. Can anyone here help him? She looks immediately at Eridis, who brightens, literally and figuratively, at being noticed. Can't say I have ever seen something like this before. And none of us are doctors, sorry to say. Okay. Do you get a lot of business in Miel Avest? Well, put it like that, no. And it's not normally me doing the selling, not like I used to. In normal times, I'm treating major customers to fancy dinners, yelling at my advisors and sneaking in the odd bespoke order before more paperwork lands on my desk. But these aren't normal times. People are saying the sorrow's on the hunt again. I don't know if it's true, but better safe than sorry. So instead of passing the time arguing like everyone else around here, I'm back to being a humble merchant. For now.
You must do quite a lot of business with the endless battle ongoing.
Making a note.
I don't know. I don't take sides or opinions on that conflict. Bad for business.
Your name is Lady, and she... Are you royalty?
Huh. Only in a technical sense. A few years back I did a favor for the type of person who can spin titles out of thin air. I told her I only wanted the money, but she insisted. So, Lady Anshi, it's opened a few stubborn doors over the years, but other than that, I don't wave it around much.
So, not like Tiber. Hmm. What are those wires all over your hands?
Inventions of mine, coupled together from parts, of course, like everything. These beauties are wired, well, not really, but you know, into my head. I use them to build and fix things that are really, really small.
She beams at her hands.
I've had them almost as long as I've been alive.
Okay. We can rest here. How much would that cost? It's not like we have a need for it though. 110. Never mind. What do you have for sale? Child's Grace. +1 training level in Persuasion skill. Artifact. Great Axe. Some usables. Slugsbitter. Yeah, medium armor. Not really my thing. Outworn Buckler offhand. When hit by an attack, confers protection for the weary to all allies in medium range. Oh. It's a better shield than what we have, but I still don't know if I want to buy it. Runic Blade of Toldanor, heavy melee attack artifact. Physical energy, right, 500. That's quite expensive. It is, yeah, it's about 5 points superior to the Quick Ice Axe. Also, effort brings more damage to it, so it is actually quite a bit better. On hit confers bleeding. The problem with bleeding is that it's physical, and I don't think it goes through armor really. So I'm not 100% sure on that, but I think it can get blocked because it is physical. But it's sick, so you would have to have quite a lot of heavy armor for it to be significantly blocked. Maximum damage on the Quick Ice Axe without the bleeding would be 18. Runic Blade has 28. So yeah. And he's the main damage dealer, so I'm very interested in trying to get the weapon. Usable artifact. You recognize this ring? Ooh, this is the ring fragment that we already have. A second ring fragment to the one we already have. We have to buy this. Yeah, I'm gonna be left with a single shin after this. Right. Chuckling Shroud, Cloak, Resistance, Willpower. Only usable by the last cast. Well, it's better. It is definitely better.
Blood of the Elements. Permanent +1 resistance. Okay. Impressively labeled canister. What? Converts all damage to energy, plus 50% movement speed, plus 15% evasion, plus 5 damage. Active an entire crisis. Even though this round tin is a relic of some forgotten past, the label is bright and pristine. Archaic script swims across it, shimmering and melting into the truth. Feeling limp in your locket's jammy, weak in the tethers, when you're too tired to scrap, reach for the freshly sealed canister of Dill and Dew's patented pounding. Direction: open up a can, repeat as needed. Possible side effects: may encourage you to break faces and save the day, can result in severe injury or death. Please do not use with the slightest bit of caution, as that would completely ruin the point of the product. If you are still breaking faces after 4 hours, consider yourself lucky. It's a massive boost for a fight. Mystic Marble. Summons a wisp that attacks a nearby enemy on its turn, dealing 20 points of energy damage. 8 physical. Does it have a duration? Okay, mystical specialized. The origin of the mystic marble is unknown, but owners of the artifacts have reported dreaming of a pearl at the heart of a shell, the size of continents, far beneath a smooth ivory sea. It's basically, okay, we point it on the ground, it'll create a wisp who attacks a nearby enemy on its turn, dealing about 30 points of damage. And there doesn't seem to be a duration, so I think it's a single attack cipher. Okay, the permanent boost is something we definitely have to buy, but not now. Maybe we can sell this.
Do you ever think before you do any of the things you do?
Never. Thinking slows your mind. Always act before thinking, and then act again. If you do it right, you'll never have to think at all.
I'll do basically all the permanent boosts to my main character, simply because I can always trust him being part of the action. So permanent +1 resistance. The rings, rings. We have the other one. You pull the first ring fragment from your bags. At first it looks like you misplaced the second, then you find it pressed into a fold at the exact opposite end from where you found the first one. You reach down to grab it, but find that you can't. The fragments reject each other with a force beyond magnetism alone. You pick up the second one with your other hand and hold them in opposing palms. Okay, examine. You hold the ring fragment to your eye. The fragment's edges are rough, as if sundered by a mighty strike. But on one end you can still see a socket that might have bit a gemstone or something else. You weigh the other ring fragment in your hand. The fragments feel like they should match somehow. The protrusion and socket clearly fit. It's almost as if they cry out to you to be joined. Okay, combine them. That's why we bought them. Pitching the fragments between thumb and forefinger, you struggle to bring them together. The force repelling them is not magnetism. It's almost as if someone is holding your hands apart with impossible contemptuous strength. Nevertheless, there must be a way to join Arab and Vareth. You just haven't found it yet. Visualization in Tidal Surge. Reforge the ring. Can't I just
put the fragments together by brute force. Well, naturally not me, but someone else, right? Ever so slowly, you force the ring fragments together, pushing your way through the massive force repelling them. The closer you bring Aref and Verret together, the more they seem to resist. Beads of sweat form on your forehead and your muscles scream in agony. But then finally, the moment you force the rings to touch, the repelling force completely dissipates and the two fragments eagerly latch onto each other. The complete shadow ring... without sneaking ring. The complete shadow ring is in the palm of your hand, shimmering with barely strained power. Ooh, +4 resistance and +2 relativistic damage on attacks. You found Aref and Vareth, the two halves of the Shadow Ring, and with great effort reformed the object that had been shattered by your sire. The resulting artifact looks like a plain dark grey metal ring. When worn, it redirects powerful forces into any target struck. No relativistic damage, ability to do that. More resistance, significantly more resistance in fact. Who lacks resistance? Not me. So I think one of our fighters is gonna get a new item. Bleeding that only gives 2 physical damage per turn. Yeah, I don't think this is particularly good. Since he's the tank, he gets the protection. I think I'll actually just sell this. Ooh. The ornament has been imbued with mystic properties known only to the Dendra of War, and it acts as a ward against attack. Yeah. Whatever. Okay. Were there other things with... I think there was like one item I would have liked to buy. A weapon! Yeah, the Rune Blade. It's also very expensive. But this is a significant upgrade. It is very expensive though. I need to get rid of some of the oddities, but I don't know what oddities should I get rid of. Actually, not necessarily. This doesn't seem to have any real use. It has per tier ability though, so +2 armor and +1 resistance might not seem that good, but on a larger tier guy, that could be significant. Do I have adaptation? I think I have that as a spell. Not sure if I need it as an item. Still, Sucker Punch. I don't care. I really don't care. Just sell it away. Need a little bit of something else. Maybe one of the books. Known powers. Historical examination. Abhumans of Sega's Protectorate. Yeah, I think just go away. Could also get the better shield.
wish I had more hands.
I want the shield. Someone who gets attacked should have the shield. This shield is better for defensive purposes. This requires me to be hit, that's the problem. Also go for the cloak. It's better for the purposes I use. I constantly need to do intellect tasks, I need spell protection, and I need resistance. So I want to pay. I need 200 extra cash for that though. So I need about 100. Maybe a gel. Brood ears, right? You hear conversations. Right, we're piss poor, but we have much better. Right. Well, we have money tied in oddities. The thing is, I don't know how significant that is. All allies gain benefits if we get hit. It's better than the piece of shit shield. Okay, what do we need to get it? About 100 cash. If I could sell one of the swords, that would definitely be it, but they're sort of both good. Enigmatic spear. From the ciphers. Ciphers are fairly cheap. More intellect pool, plus 1 damage per effort applied to esoteric. Intellect edge. I don't really care about these. Right, we were piece poor and much better equipped.
Of course.
The passageways of this structure are much too small for a human to enter. Thick flora blocks your view of what lies inside.
Doing begets learning, I guess.
Strange burbling noise emanates from the deep within this device. It looks out over the valley like a guardian.
Here comes the Boredom Slayer.
Adiris. Well, that's who we want to talk to last. She should have the information we seek. A warm glow emanates from the windows of this house, but the windows are frosted. You cannot see inside.
If you want a job done right.
It looks dark and cool inside this living structure. Unfortunately, the door is locked.
Of course.
Ilkashai. The enormous tower jutting out of the ground looks like a weapon or an antenna of some kind. It makes a soft hissing noise and smells faintly of yeast. One would have a fantastic view of the plateau from the building on the verdant crag. This all feels extremely familiar.
Something to do.
Doors are locked.
Of course.
Well, what's this? Something we can interact with.
Yes.
This monument tapers to a narrow point. From a distance, the obelisk appears several meters tall, but when you stand at the foot of it, some kind of optical illusion makes it look as though the obelisk keeps going, rising narrower and narrower into the white sky. Touch it. The moment your fingertip grazes the dagger-like stone, your mind is seized by cold fingers and hurled high into the air. Shreds of cloud whip past, stars streak by you and are lost in the void. Ahead, a light blooms, threaded with silvery ribbons of time. You plunge into the light and a vision of the future unfurls. You see yourself watching the horizon with a thoughtful expression. No, wait, it's a sneeze. The prophetic light fades, leaving you standing before the obelisk once more. You study the monument frowning. Though the vision fell true, it hardly seemed to have been worth all the effort. Perhaps touching it again will yield different results. Once more your mind plunges into the open sky, through the grasping void beyond, and in the waiting light that holds visions of the future. You see yourself staring mournfully at a half-eaten bowl of stew. It certainly looks good, but judging by your future self's expression, it was an utter disappointment. Your vision clears, leaving you before the obelisk again. The vision was just as apparently useless as the last, but perhaps this monument has more to show you. You return to the vision of you watching the horizon and sneezing. Right. Useless visions. Wonder what the theme about those visions actually is. Sort of harmless and worthless moments.
Go.
Yeah, that's something I could do.
Primaxyro, Andronus Sandhand. Okay, so there are not that many castoffs here. About 4 we can still
Look
talk
out below!
to.
Above! Sideways!
This slim castoff looks to be in his late teens, Elkashai. He carries an odd-looking device that resembles a scorched circle, and it's not hard to draw the connection between it and the red mark of a recent injury that travels along his forehead and under his hair. The man seems confused, hesitant, as if he has so many questions that he isn't sure which to ask first. I want to ask... I'm not sure... He gives a shaky smile. I want to ask you a lot. We all do. What did you mean when you said we? He blinks hard at your question, twisting the blackened circlet through his hand. I once fought in the endless battle. Found this in a giant clay hand, trapped in a half-shattered block of stone. I took it. He shakes his head as if denying the memory itself.
Put it on. The circlet spins through his hands faster and faster. I saw darkness. I knew I was inside the owner of that hand. A clay automaton imprisoned. I knew I could control it. He shivers. I did. Broke it free from the stone, used it in service of our sire for many years. Thought of it as my armor. He blinked hard again, like a man trying to dislodge a thought with his eyelids alone. Then a war construct collapsed on the automaton, crushed it, and the crown burned. I remember screaming, then 100 voices in my head arguing with each other, shouting, fighting. The automaton wasn't armor, it was a container. Container for gods.
Did you say gods?
Yes, my armor wasn't a tool, it was a locked chest with a hole inside. A deep hole full of terrible gods. He shuts his mouth and says no more on the subject. Rin, can you help him?
I can try,
She says, hunkering down to examine Elkshai's eyes. Her small smile falls into a frown, then she winces.
I don't understand these gods. They aren't like any I've ever met. They don't speak anything like a proper god. They're rude.
She cocks her head to listen more.
I believe they are imprisoned, and also not gods at all.
He looks up at him and nods. He looks up at him sad.
I offer apologies, sir, for I cannot help you.
Elkshai nods glumly, unsurprised. What kind of questions did you have for me? You forced your way through the portal. It kept us safe from the sorrow. Now it's open. He swallows, eyeing you reproachfully, carefully. You feel a stirring of forces around you. Portal was closed for a reason. You had to know that. Why weren't you more careful? You need to tell me how bad it is. I need the truth. Have you seen it? Have you seen the sorrow? Yes. I knew it. We're running out of time. Now listen. This is even more important. Have you abused the tides to change things, to influence people? Well, very little. He groans. It doesn't matter. It'll find you. Every use of our power draws it like a fire in the sky. You should have, he says, but there's no heat in his words. Maybe it'll follow you and leave us alone. His trembling hands seek the red wounds at his hairline. Want to ask more questions? No, I don't. You should go. Go before it comes for all of us. Right, tell me about the endless battle. I don't get his reasoning. If he's so worried about the sorrow, why would he try to go into a gathering of castoffs? Surely the sorrow would be more likely to pop up there.
Making a note.
He shudders. We were killed. The dead crept into my mind. They told me to kill more. And I did, because that's what we do. It's in our nature, you know. We're worse than animals, castoffs, humans, whether created or evolved. We are all inclined to conflict. That's a bunch of horseshit. Except that most people don't do conflict most of the time. And animals are in conflict constantly. Everything that has conflicting interests will get into conflict. That's part of being fucking alive. Yeah, this is nonsense. I can't really do anything with Elkshai. So what are these two guys? I want to basically talk to everyone else except Adi Reis. Doesn't look like there's all that many things we can do.
You want a
here.
job done right.
This woman bears a toothy smile, enjoying the anger in the man he's speaking with.
You probably think if you won, the endless battle would actually end.
This man's face is flushed and angry, veins throb on his forehead. and his eyes are focused on his companion. Stop talking, Raima. He spits each word, gripping his weapon belt with bloodless fingers. Stop talking or I'll prove you wrong right now.
But it wouldn't do anything of. But it wouldn't do anything of the sort.
Raima replies, grinning as though she intends to eat the man whole and screaming.
Even this argument is part of his plan. Do what you have to do, Antronus.
If not for the law, you'd already be dead, he says and spits at her feet. Traitor, fool.
You child. You ingrate.
Yeah, pardon me. What? They shout in unison, whirling on you. What are you arguing about? Best stay out of it, Antronus says, slashing the air between him and Raima with his hand. Even a second of her boot-licking nonsense is a waste of your time.
Hide from the truth all you want. You know I'm right. You know it.
Yeah, neither of you actually told me what you were arguing about.
Of course I didn't. Antronus never lets me get a word in edgewise.
Why should I? All of your words are his, and I've had enough of him for a lifetime. So, you didn't answer the question again. Grinding his teeth together, Antronus merely shakes his head. Raima chuckles under her breath and runs an easy hand over her scalp. How long have you two known each other anyway? Too long.
Agreed.
Right, so they're not telling me anything. Looks like we're more or less done here. There's a mystery device here that kills us. Potential anti-sorrow device. A couple of people who don't really contribute anything, and odd degrees. At least we get a major equipment upgrade, so that's something.